Well, hello. This is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com, where music comes to life. And my guest today has really done it all. He's played with legends like Paul McCartney. He has a great solo career, but he's here today because he's a key member of the Tedeschi Trucks Band. And on March 20th, they're going to release their sixth studio album called Future Soul, and you know they're going to be hitting the road to support it. Here to talk all about it, please welcome keyboardist Gabe Dixon. Welcome, Gabe.
Thanks. Good to be here.
So now you've been with the Tedeschi Trucks Band since around 2018 or so. How did you first get involved in the band?
I got a call at the end of December in 2018 to say that their keyboard player, Kofi Burbridge, was in the hospital and having some health issues. So they needed someone to sub for him for a couple of months. So I jumped at the opportunity because I love that band. And I thought, well, this will be the most fun 2 months of my life. And then sadly, he passed away in February of 2019. So since then, I've been in the band. Yeah.
Now, Future Soul is your second studio release with the band, kind of following the wildly ambitious I Am the Moon. Was the approach different going in to make a single record like Future Soul as opposed to the sprawling I Am the Moon?
Yeah, absolutely. The process was different. The circumstances were different. With I Am the Moon, really started writing that during the COVID pandemic, and we had a lot of time. And that album was really more of a concept album that Mike Madison came up with this concept to base the record off of the Layla and Majnun Persian epic poem. So all the songs for that album were written with that in mind, and it was a lot more as far as the process of writing and the process of recording, especially. It was a lot more free form. We just hang out all day and record, and maybe we take a break and then get started recording again at 11 at night, and like wouldn't finish up till 3 in the morning sometimes. Down at their place, and it was sort of like we were all kind of producing it. I mean, Derek and Bobby were technically the producers, but it was really a group effort, and everybody just kind of put their thing into it. But with this album, with Future Soul, it was a lot more sort of regimented and disciplined. And oh, and by the way, I Am the Moon had like 24 songs on it, and it was like a 4 album, epic thing. But this album, we really wanted to go back to like a more traditional, like short and sweet songs, only 10 or so songs on the record kind of thing. And yeah, so bringing Mike Elizondo in really kind of changed the character of of our approach, really. I mean, he has a much more regimented kind of like we'll start at 10, we'll finish up at dinner time,
Mhm.
and that's it, and then we're done for the day. And I actually really liked that process a lot. I enjoyed the fact that it was a little less aimless and a little more predictable. And maybe you hear that on the album too. It's a and I think that the process of even the overdubs, which we did, so we recorded the tracks in Jacksonville at Derek and Susan's studio, and we recorded the overdubs at Mike Elizondo's place in Nashville, which is also where I live. And even the overdubs were very like structured. We had vocal day, we had horn day, and we had it just it was nice to have Mike Elizondo kind of to help make decisions, because I feel like all the greatest producers, they're good at bringing out what's great about the artist, but they're there with a decision when a decision has to be made, and he was always really good about that.
You jumped right into the band when you started with songwriting, even adding some vocals with I Am the Moon. What was the creative process when it came to Future Soul? Is there sort of a core songwriting aspect of the group, or does everybody bring in ideas? How does it work?
There's no rhyme or reason to it. I think everyone kind of comes up with ideas on their own, but also, we'll get together. Like, okay, as we go along on tour,
Mhm.
sometimes we'll be at sound check and there'll just be a really fun idea at sound check and we'll capture it with a voice recorder or whatever. And maybe that ends up being the seed of a song that we work on later together. But I mean, I guess since I've been in the band, there's been a core group of people who have sort of been the writers, I guess. Derek and Susan and Mike and me, and Falcon has contributed songs as well. On the previous record, you had, like Derek and Falcon and Isaac and Brandon and I wrote a song called Passaquan. But it's hard to say that there's a specific process. Mike, Derek, Susan, and I went to their farm in Georgia in early
Mhm.
2024, and we just set aside about a week to sit there and write songs. And so Mike had already brought in a couple that were basically finished. I had, Derek had a couple starts, and I had one that was what was finished, and Susan had a couple ideas, and we just kind of like put it together that way. But I think what happens is when it's time to make the record, we say, "What have we got?" To everybody, and and so I just happened to have a couple that I wrote by myself that I wasn't sure, if I wasn't going to record with this band, I would have done them on my own record, but I just really liked them, so I brought them in, and Derek and Susan and everybody really loved them. So yeah, there was one song where Derek just he had this melody on guitar, kind of like the melody for an entire song, but he had no lyrics. So I just took that and I wrote all the lyrics, and that song became "Ride On,"
Yeah.
which is the last song on the album, I think. Um, so it's a disjointed kind of way of putting it together, but at the end we just edit and edit and edit and until we feel like we've got what we need.
Now, as we talk, you guys are in the middle of your annual run at the Beacon Theater in New York City. What's it been like taking these Future Soul songs that not everyone has even heard yet at this point and bringing them to the stage?
It's refreshing to play something new. It's fun to bring them to life, and we actually did a few of them. This is sort of unusual, I think, for this band. We started playing them live this past fall.
Hmm.
Some of them, like Future Soul and Who Am I and Devil Be Gone and I Got You. So we already had played almost half the record live. Um, but I think it's just we start putting them in when they feel ready to play. We played "Be Kind" the other night, which was good. It's interesting to hear the reaction because people tend to react to things they know, because they're familiar with them. So if they've never heard a song, if the audience and they hear it, they don't know sometimes whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
So we'll get applause, but we don't get, we find that people start loving them more and more the more familiar they get with them. So it's always a little bit of a walking out on the edge to bring a new song out. We like it though.
And naturally, I mean, we got to know Derek from his time in the Allman Brothers, and there's a lot of Allman offshoots. But you guys really seem to have picked up the mantle, especially with this Beacon run every year, because that was something that the Allmans did religiously. Do these shows mean a little extra to you guys because of the history behind them?
I'd say so. Absolutely. Yeah, it always we always feel the Allman Brothers spirit when we're at the Beacon.
Mm.
And especially this year because the Almonds traditionally played in March or in
Yep.
the kind of springtime area, and so this is really the first time we've we've done that. I think. Usually we'll play in the fall or in later in the spring or in the winter, but so I think that yeah, we feel it, and we feel it when we go backstage and we see the big giant poster of the almonds in the catering area, and we see the poster of like, Allman Brothers played 200 and however many shows there over their career, and here we are. By the end of this one, we will have done 75 shows
Wow.
at the Beacon.
Mhm.
Um, I think I've been a part of maybe 45 of them or 50. I don't know, uh, but we love it. The spirit's there, and so we play the songs. We
Yeah.
did Come and Go Blues the other night. We did Dreams. So we did Statesboro Blues already. In the 4 shows, we've done at least 3 or 4 Almonds tunes.
Now, speaking of big gigs, I mean, you've played one or two in your career. Most recently, I had the absolute pleasure of catching Tedeschi Trucks Band's amazing tribute to Joe Cocker at the Rock Hall. Was out there
Oh
in
yeah.
LA for it. You guys have been a champion of Joe Cocker, and especially the Mad Dogs and Englishmen period. What was that night like for you? Because it looked like you guys were having the time of your lives on that stage.
It was great, man. I honestly, I didn't expect this, but when right before we played, when they played the video, I was just like started getting emotional because it does feel like a real honor to be able to pay tribute to him,
Mhm.
and it felt like the right band to do it.
Yeah.
Uh, we have connections in this band to Joe. Alicia Shakur, who's one of our singers. Her dad was keyboard player and musical director for Joe for years, and knew that whole group of folks since she was a kid. And obviously, the band has a history with Leon Russell and doing that lock-in thing with the Mad Dogs movie and everything. It was a little nerve-wracking for me personally because I was starting all 3 songs on the keyboard, and it was a pretty high-profile thing. But kind of shut my eyes and tuned into it, and it was really great. I thought the guests were awesome. I mean, just it was a trip. It was to do, with a little help from my friends,
Yeah.
with like Cyndi Lauper
That was a
and
great ending.
Chris Robinson, who just tore the roof off the place. He's such a great. They're both such great performers, and Teddy Swims. And I mean, God, like I had such a good time. I really loved Nathaniel Rateliff's voice
Yeah.
on on like the letter.
Mhm.
He and Susan just man. I think we had Bobby Torres playing with us too, who
Mhm.
on the congas, who was in the original Mad Dogs tour and played on the recording of Feeling All Right. So I got to play that iconic piano thing with him playing congas, and it's just like it was a dream, man. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was a great night, and you guys were the perfect ending for that night. It was
Nice.
really awesome. And speaking of big gigs, I mean, you played one of the biggest. You were alongside McCartney in the concert for 9/11. You
Yeah.
know, kind of, you know, along the lines of that, what were the emotions of that night?
Well, it was a positive night. It was a
Mhm.
really, I think it's something that everybody needed at that time. I remember feeling like after 9/11, like I and so many people just wanted to do something
Yeah.
to help the country, And for me, getting to go and be a part of that concert and use my musical talents to like be a part of something that's helping raise money for firefighters and like help the country like stand back up and be together and united. I was just so it just felt so happy and satisfied to be able to do that. uh, I think everyone was so kind of scared and terrified and freaked out up to that point, and that concert just uh, really brought people together, and the vibe was so positive, and um, I was really happy to be a part of it.
Hmm. We also mentioned your solo work in the introduction. You have a new song that came out a little while back called Manically Free. Will you be
Yeah.
doing a full record? Will you be having some more singles coming out over the course of the year? What do you
Yeah. I've started the approach lately of just releasing songs every few weeks, and then when I feel like I have enough, I package them as an album. You
Mhm.
know, so I think I put out another song. Was it last week called Violins?
Mhm.
And I'll have another one coming out. I think maybe in April or May, or uh, and I'm going to be doing some work recording with Oliver Wood, who I co-write songs with. I love Oliver. He's like
Yeah.
one of my favorite songwriters. He and I have 3 or 4 songs we've written that we're going to record probably in June or May. So if I can get those done quick enough, I'll follow. You know, I'm sort of chasing my recordings. You know what I mean? And then I find that works for me rather at this time in my life rather than going in and recording a whole album
Mhm.
of my own, and because that way I can kind of continue to keep people interested. And like the last record, I put out 2 EPs digitally, and then I turned them plus one other song into just a vinyl
Yeah.
only release. So I may do that again. I'm not sure. I just like to keep making music, because I feel like it's what I'm here to do, and it's satisfying to me.
As always, Tedeschi Trucks, you guys will be spending the majority of the summer on the road. Will you sprinkle in any solo shows in between some of those?
Yeah, I'm playing a show of my own in Nashville in June, on June 27th, at Third and Lindsley, and so that'll be a great chance to kind of um, split up the year. I've gotten to where I do like 2 Nashville shows of my own every year. I do like a holiday one in December, and I'll do one in the summer. So that should be fun. Yeah, we're actually taking a good bit of the summer off with TTB. We did the same thing last year, and I kind of like that. I can be home with my kids for summer break and all that stuff, you know. Um, yeah, and I'm doing a thing at the Peace Center in Greensville with Maya Sharp and Lucy Silvis, kind of a songwriter round type of thing that is always a fun thing to do. Um, so yeah, I slot it in when I can. I did a winter tour in the Northeast this January and February with my trio, and just staying busy.
That's all you can do. Well, we've been spending some time here with Gabe Dixon, the Tedeschi Trucks Band. Their record is called Future Soul. It's out everywhere March 20th. It's a great record. I've been listening to it a lot since I got a copy of it. If you're in the area, you can still catch them at the Beacon through most of March. Gabe, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Best of luck with the record and good luck, and we'll catch you on the road.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.